All right. I want to ask you a question about a concept you mentioned before, which I believe is in your book, Natural Cures They Don't Want You to Know About. You say that the best time in the week to relax is from Friday night to Saturday night due to the lunar cycle. You as well mentioned that it's super effective to use this time for recovering. Can you evaluate in more detail what is the lunar influence that you're referring to, and what in the end are relaxing activities? More meditation and time in nature, staying away from work, even if you love what you do, no intense workouts for keeping the adrenal levels down low. Much love from Portugal. Okay, let's talk about this. In ancient times, the lunar cycle determined the calendar for many cultures. In the Jewish tradition, the lunar cycle was used. Also in Islam, Ramadan, for example, is different every year because it's based on the moon cycle. The Jewish holy days are based on the moon cycle, so they change every year. Rome used a solar calendar, but the Jews used a lunar calendar. And it varied across cultures. The moon has a dramatic and profound effect on water. As you may or may not know, the moon determines the tides. The ocean levels go up and down based on where the moon is, because the moon gravitationally pulls water. So it has a profound effect on water. The body is 70% water. The brain is, I think, 90% water, because fat cells are mostly water. I mentioned earlier that the brain is mostly fat cells. So when the moon is in certain cycles, it affects us physiologically and also emotionally. During certain moon cycles, if you have surgery, you will bleed more, and it'll be harder to heal. The healing will be slower. Other times you don't bleed very much and it heals very quickly. If a woman is going through her menstrual cycle during certain times of the moon, it will be a much heavier flow and usually longer. Also, during certain cycles, a woman, if she's during her menstrual cycle when the moon is in that flow, there'll be much stronger emotions. Throughout the world, the research shows that when there is a full moon, violent acts go up. More people are classified as insane. That goes up. Insanity, irrational acts that people do, higher states of emotions during a full moon. You know, the werewolf comes out. It's the werewolf in all of us that comes out during the full moon. So the moon affects the body. And in the Jewish tradition, there was the Sabbath. Now, the Sabbath, by the way, is based on the lunar calendar. The Sabbath is not Sunday. And I love it when Christians say, yeah, the Sabbath is Sunday. No, the Sabbath is in the Old Testament. And everything in the Old Testament, whether it was Rosh Hashanah, Yom Kippur, Purim, Passover, it was all based on the lunar cycle. So there's no question about this. So the Sabbath starts at sundown on Friday and ends on sundown on Saturday. And if you remember, Jesus was killed on the cross on Friday afternoon. And what does the Bible say? For my Christian brothers and sisters here, it says that they had to hurry and get him in the tomb before the Sabbath started, because the Sabbath starts Friday at sundown. And they couldn't do anything to the body until the Sabbath was over. And when was the Sabbath over? When did they go and work on the body? Sunday morning. That's not when the Sabbath started. It's when the Sabbath was over, because it ends on Saturday night. So the women, Mary Magdalene and so forth, went Sunday morning after the Sabbath, not on the start of the Sabbath. Sunday is not the Sabbath. that's another conversation. But the point is, it says don't work on the Sabbath. Okay. But let's just talk about not from a religious standpoint, from an energetic standpoint. From Friday night at sundown till Sunday at sundown, we're not talking about religious tradition or what is said in the Talmud or in the oral tradition or what's been established over time by a bunch of rabbis. No, I'm talking about energetics. Basically rest. Yeah, think about it. An Orthodox Jew won't take a car to go to the temple or the synagogue, shul, what they call it, but they'll walk 5 miles, which is more exerting to the body. But again, we're not talking about that. So what is the best way to rest from Friday night to Saturday night? Ideally, rest. What does rest mean? It means rest. I'm not doing a strong workout, but I can go for a walk around the park. I can cook a little bit in my house. I can spend time with my family, watch a little TV, take a nap outside. Rest. Just rest the body. It's as simple as that. Just rest the body. Yeah, meditate if you want to meditate. Don't do anything if you don't want to sit and read. That's fine. But basically rest. You don't want to overexert the physical body. Go to bed early on Friday night. Maybe sleep in a little late. Rest. Just don't physically overexert yourself. That's what rest means. And by the way, all that gives is the opportunity for the body to heal. And it will recharge you to make sure that for the next 6 days until the next Sabbath, that you're operating on all 8 cylinders. You're not burning the candle at both ends. All right, next question.